The need for volunteer firefighters continues in Greater Sudbury as a union representing them and the city work together to address recruitment and retention. CTV's Lyndsay Aelick has that story.
Every year, Fire Services makes a presentation to City Council reflecting on the previous year of recruitment. In a report to be presented next Tuesday, staff say a total of 229 applications were submitted, but many didn't move on because they didn't live in catchment areas supported by volunteer firefighters.
We have recently implemented a strategy where they can type in their address and it will show them on the city website which is their closest volunteer station and if they're applicable to be able to apply to this. Some of the other ones is obviously physical testing, and then last is the interview stage.
Christian Labour Association of Canada represents over 200 volunteer firefighters in the city. The union says in order to best serve the vast geography, they'd like to see that number closer to 300. Unfortunately, year over year, they're seeing about 20% of volunteers leaving,
which is high. That's a lot of turnover. You're statistically losing replacing your service every 5 years, but realistically what you're doing is just losing a few people for various reasons, sometimes at the higher end years of service, but it's often the newer folks that might leave for various different reasons. And then having to replace those is very expensive and costly, and everyone else that's left behind, of course, has to carry the load.
Josh Corbett, known as half of the Pure Country Morning Show, has been a volunteer firefighter since 2023.
I think if you ask anyone in the service, it comes down to wanting to give back, wanting to help others, but do so in a way that's very frontline, boots on the ground. You know, you're able to put the work in rather than be more behind the scenes.
Walchuk says that the union and the city are working collaboratively to address recruitment and retention. He says he remains hopeful with upcoming open houses and presentations at local high schools that people will see the opportunity and become volunteer firefighters. Lyndsay Aelick, CTV News, Sudbury.